Hello everybody, it's your boy N here. I'm coming at you guys with another YouTube video. So, the Ebuster. Is the weapon any good? Is it a worthwhile weapon or anything like that? So, let's talk about it. I tested this weapon in two setups. Number one being with the multi-hit damage core, and the second one being with the multi-hit chance core instead, to see whether the unique ability would be any better with that. So, my main takeaway from this weapon is that you do want to build it into multi. If we do look at its unique ability, you'll see that it's basically meant to be some form of a stat stick to deal additional damage, and it can cause multi hits on hit. So having multi on here is a good thing as well. And ideally, this is going to allow you to, well, be a stat stick for an ace with additives, not multiplicative, electric skill power for an ace, which is cool, right? So on paper, this sounds excellent. When you look at the build, I've gone with a multi-hit build on here as well. Something like this would be kind of what you'd expect for this weapon. So that's what we've gone with. Now, just give me a minute. The developers specifically said that this weapon is going to replace your shadow, right? So shadow is a very, very, very high baseline for anything to replace. So what does this even look like? So when it comes to mobbing with this weapon, you'd want to shoot Inace's first ability to build up the stacks, and then you can use it to proc Inace's conductive or conductor. So that's what it can do. But if we take the conductor away, because Inace doesn't even actually need anything to, do damage to their abilities, you can see that when it comes to gunning stuff down, it's okay. It's not an excellent weapon, but it's not a horrible weapon either. It doesn't, take 10 years to kill mobs. But it's not going to be the fastest thing ever either. And in terms of when it comes to killing a horde, you can see it's going to take its sweet time. It's not a horde killing monster machine of a gun. So, it'll take its time and, it will do damage, but it's not really that great. Even if we were to use the inversion for it, which I am doing, the Ebuster inversion with energy round game and more multi-hit damage on here as well, still makes it, well, kind of not worth it. If we were to compare it directly to the Shadow, well, would you bother with, taking your time and doing any of that, or would you just go through pile drive and kill mobs with not just one row mobs, but two row mobs? And even just with the Shadow in general, it's significantly faster and more fast paced at killing mobs too. You can take care of them and you rebuild your Shadow charge up anyways, so you can just kill mobs significantly faster with the Shadow anyways. But when it comes to Inace, she's a mobbing descendant. So with Inace, you will absolutely want to specifically go down the route of mobbing, right? When it comes to this descendant, she's an absolute nuke. She can rip apart hordes of mobs very, very, very easily. So you use your abilities to kill everything, right? Just simple. And with that, Inace's only weakness would be single target mobs. So if we look at the Colossus, for example, let's say good old Gluttony over here. With Gluttony, with the Shadow, I would just aim up there and just one shot and he's dead. And with the Combustor, let's spawn in another Gluttony. I'll use this one to build up the charge on him. 3, 4, 5. Screw it, we'll just keep this Gluttony because it doesn't matter. But even with this Gluttony, if we start shooting him with this weapon, it does damage, but it's still impractically slow compared to what the Shadow is. The Shadow is a giga chad of a weapon, and if you want to be replacing the Shadow, you've really got to, oh well, that's the Grave Walker. You've really got to be, well, pulling your weight. This thing is a very, very, very useless weapon in my opinion, and it can definitely do some damage, like I said, but if it's going to be a replacement for Inace's weakness, it's going to have to do a little bit better than this. Even up here against Deathstalker, it does do a good chunk of damage, and like I said, it's not even a bad weapon. But if I was to use the Shadow, not even the right variation of the Shadow here, not even the electric Shadow, the toxic Shadow with this as well, you can see even against Deathstalker, the Shadow is just significantly more practical, even if you just don't care and don't even aim it or use it correctly. It does more damage, faster, and stuff like that too. Now, saying it's not good in the lab is one thing, so let's take it into real world gameplay. So up in Axe Converter, which pretty much, in my opinion at least, is one of, if not the only places you'd be using in Ace anyways, what does it look like? So when it comes to Axe Converter gameplay, with Ace here, you can see I'm still going to mob using my first and second abilities and my fourth ability, you know, in Ace, how you'd stereotypically play in Ace. With this, I don't know why the gameplay is chopping, probably because my PC is dying right now, but you can see in general, mobbing with this is fine. And you can see even here, I am building up the passive, and I am using the inversion to buff this weapon a little bit harder. And even with this, you can see that so far, it's so good. A standard Axe Converter run. Now, when it comes to covering Inace's weakness with this thing, it's not looking good, because I'd have to go in and, you know, I'd have to aim with this thing, which is saying something. And with that, once you do eventually put your 5th mag into it and kill it, it's so long that the mobs have literally made it to the targets in Axe Converter, which is something I've not really seen in an incredibly long time. So yeah, there's that. So where does its benefits come from? The benefit on Inace is not bad, I guess, but what does it do in terms of practicality? Can it melt ships? It's not too bad with ships. It'll take a few seconds, or it'll take a second or two, but it's an okay weapon for ships. So, you know, if you want to do some damage to ships, thumbs up. So how does it do on the final boss as well? Again, Inace's weakness. So with this, on the final boss, I can confirm this thing is okay. It's not too bad. But the fact that you kind of have to reload and so on and so forth, and then there's this, and there's that, it doesn't become very practical. Especially given that if you're using Inace correctly, in my opinion, you make her abilities able to wipe. You build her into full mobbing DPS in favor of just being able to one-shot the shit out of the boss. That's how Inace works, in my opinion at least. So in terms of this run, this was an Axe Converter run that took me, well, just shy of 2 minutes and 10 seconds. So what happens when I 180 the table and do nothing but hold the shadow as a stat stick as well? So again, the same run is going to be pretty much inevitable. It's going to be about the same in general. So how much difference does it make when you can deal with the tyrant and deal with the boss in a quicker manner? So even over here, we're going to move on to the second phase real quick. Then we will go through and do this and take care of the second phase of mobs. Nice and quick gameplay with this. Now with this, again, I wasn't using the correct shadow either. I was just using the toxic. If I was using the breach one, very easily would have one shot, but I took half of his health off pretty much immediately. And if I just done another shadow dash, I would have had the same effect and killed him basically in like 1 second or in 2 seconds. Shadow is very much capable of one-shotting tyrants and one-shotting like everything. Shadow is the weapon that you want to be using for pretty much everything. And even if you were to go back and forth and say, well, it can replace a secret garden, again, even with that one, I'm still kind of going to have to agree. I still think Inace's mobbing DPS is her main thing, and I think that this is where it comes out more. Again, here with the shadow, I didn't even fully charge it, and I just dashed into the ships, and I killed 2 of the ships. The only difference being, oh no, I have to hit 1 more ship, done. So what happens when you drop? How fast is it on the boss? Yeah, the results really do speak for themselves. I did not charge the sword up, and I wasn't, I was using the sword inversion, but yeah, even if you do miss, the shadow can quickly rectify for its own miscomings if it doesn't one-shot the boss, which even in a 4-man lobby, it can do. This weapon will definitely not scale to the same level of the shadow, even completing Axe Converter an entire 30 seconds faster. The Ebuster is not a bad weapon, but making a weapon for one Descendant in a specific niche, if you are going to do it, you absolutely need to do it correctly. The Ebuster should have absolutely wiped the floor with the shadow and wiped the floor with the secret garden, which I haven't really compared it to as much because I use the shadow more so with Inace. It has to be significantly better, like how Fallen Hope is a clear winner for Freyna. Otherwise, this weapon is not worth it. And given that you went down the restriction route of basically making this weapon only work with Inace and maybe Sharon anyways, it doesn't really put it in a very good spot, because I can't really recommend this weapon to anyone. or stuff like that. If I've made a miscalculation or I've built it wrong or something like that, I'm completely willing to take the blame. But for the most part, I don't think the Ebuster is a very good weapon, and should you invest in it? Probably not.